Hi, I'm Nathan Cole of natesviolin.com, and today we're going to improve your sound with Son Filé, long bows, the infamous 1-minute bow. So before you get started, get into a meditative place, a relaxed frame of mind, trance-like if you will. I should add that if you've had coffee or a lot of sugar in the last few hours, you might want to hold off on trying this until that's gotten out of your system, because the last thing you want here is extra shakes. Now the 1-minute bow, or variations on that, that's been around for centuries. Even Mozart's father Leopold wrote about how important it was to practice this exercise. Flesch, Gingold, they all taught some kind of variation on this 1-minute bow. So when you're practicing a bow that long, as you'll see in a minute, the quality of the sound is not super important. What you're after is the even speed of the bow. Now I should explain. You might see on my bow here, I've got some pieces of blue tape. I've divided the bow into quarters with that blue tape. And the reason for that is that I can use those as checkpoints when I'm looking at my stopwatch. So let's get started. Have you rosined your bow well and recently? You'll want rosin all over the hair. And you'll see after you try this exercise, you may have to re-examine your rosining technique too. So a bow that lasts 10 seconds is already fairly long. I'm going to turn on my little stopwatch here. And it's okay if you're having trouble with a bow of only 10 seconds. We're going to build this up gradually. So when I hit start, so that's already a slow bow. And for a bow that speed, I can have a pretty decent sound. If I wanted to play it a little bit louder, I could. Let me do another one. Something like that. Now I'm not going to have that luxury when we start slowing down the bow. And I'm also going to have to start using my little checkpoints here. A 20-second bow. Now each quarter is going to last 5 seconds. Reset my stopwatch here. Each quarter is going to last 5 seconds, and there are little cracks in the sound may start to appear. So. So some of that sound was decidedly not what I'd want to have on the concert stage. And now as we get to 40 seconds, I'm going to double it again. Now you've got to strategize some because the start of the bow is going to be so important. If you can't get through 10 seconds here by the time you get to your first mark, you're going to be in trouble because some of the easiest slow bow is actually going to be near the frog. And if you need help starting these bows, or playing near the frog, watch a video of mine called A Soft Starts and Smooth Bow Changes at the Frog. That'll give you some tips on how to get started there really quietly right at the frog. So now let me reset again. I'm going to go for 40 seconds. And now the sound will definitely, there'll be some little gaps in there. But finally when we do the 1-minute bow, I'm going to put a close-up on the bow so you'll see just how much activity is happening there in the bow. So here we go for 40 seconds. I almost overshot that one. I think I was planning for the minute bow later, so I had some extra left over at the end. That's not going to happen for the minute long bow. And for that, we're going to do a little close-up, just so you can see what happens to the bow in the middle of all that. I think you'll find it interesting, and it'll show you just how alive a bow can be, even when you're playing a very slow note. Here we are, set up for the close-up of the 1-minute bow. Take a look at just how much happens to the bow as it's traveling so slowly. Now, each of my quarter markers, remember, has to last a full 15 seconds. Well, I hope I don't have to sustain a bow for 60 seconds on stage anytime soon. That's why I'm doing it in the practice room, because this exercise is so wonderful for giving yourself confidence in those slow bows. And wasn't it interesting to see all the activity that happens in the bow when it's moving that slowly? That's not really shaking from the bow hand. It's the springiness of the bow interacting with the elasticity of the strings. Right where the hair and the string meet, there's so much electricity and energy, and that's what makes the violin such an amazing instrument. And so, after playing a 1-minute bow, for example, the beginning of Mozart's Fifth Concerto, it seems like child's play. Could almost play it at half tempo, right? And that just feels so wonderfully easy now after the Son Filé. So, I'd love for you to try this yourself. Get your stopwatch ready. Start with those shorter time divisions. And I would recommend putting the little quarter marks on the bow. I just did it with some blue masking tape that you can find in any hardware store. It really helps you plan the bow and to know if you're getting a good start. Remember to rosin properly. And once you've tried this and you've seen what it'll do for your sound, leave some comments for me in this video. And once you've done that, visit natesviolin.com. Make sure you get signed up for my emails, because I'll send you all my latest tips and tricks and videos. So happy practicing, and remember to get in that meditative mood before you try the Son Filé. Thanks.